Yes, guys, I'm back. I'm back with another one. Today I'll have a little scan of BTC, see where we're at, see what trajectory we're taking, see if it's looking like it's going to be doing the move that I predicted over the past since last week. I'm actually going to go look at some altcoins today as well, so you can see that most of these altcoins are not worth holding through cycles. You will see that when I show you these things that I'm going to show you. Altcoins are potentially okay for your day trading and things like that. So we will have a look at that, have a little look at USDT dominance, and we might scan a few other markets as well while we're at it. So yeah, let's get straight into it, guys. So we're on BTC chart daily. Let's have a little scan of what's going on. So what I was looking at, I think it was Monday, we're looking at BTC and the way it was moving. You know, the moves that I was predicting previously, what's been going on. We are below that moving average, the EMA, the 200 EMA at the minute. I do have this level here that I've pointed out that we could potentially be coming down into. I don't think it's just going to be a foregone conclusion where we just literally drop into that zone. There is going to be some sort of support where we are at the minute, this tiny little area here. I just call it support. Other people might call it something else, whatever they want to call it. But that there, you know, people might use that as a order block or whatever. But do you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. I don't really use that. I'm just looking at this technical support that we're in at the minute. But we are doing the, you know, the high, higher low, and then it turns into a lower high, lower low, lower high. I'm expecting potentially another lower low to come in, lower high. Then we drop into this over the next few months, start to chop, and then, you know, potentially October, you know, round that stage, October 27, we get this move up. A lot of people are wanting to see the move in October this year. The only thing that I'm not saying that it can't happen. The only thing that I'm looking at is, I did point it out, we do have technical head and shoulders pattern that is playing out. So this could really flush us into this zone. I'd like to see the sideways action, and then we pull up into this area, you know, prior supporting area, turning into a resistance. We get a little tag into here, and then we drop. Then we do the chopping sideways. And then we start to move away, drop back in, hold it as support, then pull away. But, you know, like I said before, we're trying to, you know, predict the market, the way it's going to move. It's not guaranteed that this is going to happen. But, you know, a lot of people were saying when the Clarity Act, can't remember which act it was, one of the acts anyway that got approved, but it's not really been signed in, I don't think, yet. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's been actually signed into law yet. And once we had that, you know, BTC decided to do another drop like that from there, 30% drop. Like I pointed out, it took a few months for it to do that, you know, the 30% move up, but it's only took a couple of weeks for it to retrace all the way back, that move that it did. So what, you know, buy the rumor, sell the news event in Bitcoin. So that's what I'm thinking about Bitcoin. We'll see if this plays out. I will keep this drawing on. Let's see. You know, many people thought we'd go back to 100k. Me, personally, I don't think we did. You know, I don't think we were gonna. Another technical area here, which was a support, dropped in, fell, hit, resistance. I think we're going to do something very, very similar. Drop in, resistance, sideways, pop up, support, back in, support, and then away we go. That's my personal take on BTC at the minute. Can have a little look at USDT dominance. This is something that I've been looking at in USDT dominance. If we can hold this area, which USDT dominance is basically people moving the money from Bitcoin, altcoins, whatever, and then, you know, up we go. This could create a new high coming into the back end of Q4. This could create the new high in Bitcoin. In USDT dominance. We'll have to wait and see. You know, like I say, you know, we're trading probabilities here. You know, we're trying to predict the move where it could potentially be going. So, you know, that's my take on it. I think we will have a few weeks of this sort of move, which if we're having that, then Bitcoin will be going sideways around this area, you know, before potentially a little push and then a drop into this zone. So there's one thing I want to show you about altcoins. So we've got Sui. I know it's only a newish coin. Call it newish after 3 years. But if you look at these coins, these are not really coins that you want to be holding in your spot bag. Yeah, fair enough, day trade these coins. But if you look at this move here, you know, you had the initial, in July 24, you get the 1,000%, 1,100% technically move up. Why would you not take that profit? Say you put $1 on that, you've made $1,000. So why would you not be taking profit? And this is what people don't realize. People think that altcoins are just going to continuously keep going up. To be honest with you, there's only really 2 coins that I want. I don't want BTC and I only want ETH. I don't really care about any of this other crap. I really don't. I've been stung before buying this sort of crap, and I'll never do it again. And if there's some other assets that you really want, you're looking at these 2, gold and silver. But they are going to have a pullback at some point. We'll have a little scan of the S&P. S&P just keeps getting bought back up. Every single time it has the dip, bought back up. And what this is here, the reason we have these pulled back, you know, back towards these areas is, you know, in these candles, there is limit buys and there will be market players wanting to long in these zones. You know, in all these areas. Currently at the minute, you can just see exactly the same when we start to have a sell-off. It comes back to the area, tagged into the sells, and then drops off. Couple of other altcoins, XRP, fine example. All the fluff that you hear from XRP is going $100, it's going to $50, it's doing this, it's doing that. And then everybody buys this top. Everybody buys the top and not actually looking at the technical side of it and thinking, is it really worth buying the top? Everybody fought here, which I totally understand. You know, that candle there on the weekly, from that bottom when we had that massive flush, you know, it came back up 113% from the drop. But that drop in 1 week, this is where you've got to look at it. The drop in 1 week was 61% in XRP. And don't get me wrong, yeah, when that candle is finished like that, you're going to think, wow, there's so many buyers. What people are not looking at is these candles here. There will be limit orders sat inside these candles. So same with XRP. You know, we could come into this area and have the bounce, because there is going to be limit orders in this candle. If investors are a little bit scared now, and what they'll do is, after that candle's dropped into this zone and it's pushed back up, investors are cashing out here straight away. Because what they'll look at this here. They're obviously using Bookmap and Footprint and all this, and I do use that. They're going to look here and think, right, if that candle's come through here and it's come back to that same area where them buyers previously were, which held as a technical supporting area, are they going to still be there after that flush? Potentially not. So they're waiting for that move back up and think, right, time to cash out. And they cash out. And then what the retail will do, they hold. And they've held from here, and now they're down another 62%. You know, you really need to start looking at these movements in the in certain altcoins. ETH. I'm going to redo all my drawings anyway on ETH. So ETH's done exactly the same. You know, did we breach that high? Yep, we breached the high. And everybody thought, oh, ETH's going to follow BTC and, you know, it's going to breach the high of the last cycle or, the 2021 cycle. And all it did was it popped its head up and then went crash all the way back down. And that's because you're listening to the wrong people at the wrong time. You know, fine example, Tommy Lee. He started buying ETH up in here in a dumb price. And, you know, he's down over £12 billion now. $12 billion. For what? Because he couldn't wait for the retracement back down into here. If he starts to buy from here now, and even lower, you know, he's going to get a really good deal. You've also got to look at the technical side of ETH here. So in these candles here, we're going to have limit orders sat in these zones. Can almost guarantee you that there's going to be limit orders sat in these zones. So this is where the real players are going to start to load in on ETH and, you know, other altcoins. I'm not playing with any other altcoins. Solana, same with Sol. You know, it had a massive run, a really big run from this zone here up into here. You know, who in the right mind is not taking profit there? This is what you've got to look at, guys. Who in their right mind is not taking profit there? And then they even got a technical bounce back to take more profit. You're going to take profit. And if you're not taking profit, what's wrong with you? Same where we are now in Sol, you know, down in these zones here, this area here, we're going to have a lot of limits that are going to be getting stacked up in here. So, you know, you're not late. There's no panic. You could even wait for Sol to pop out. You know, once it comes back into here, we have the sideways action in that zone. Potential little flush into there. Pop back up. Supporting area. Back up above that zone. Sweep down. And then a move off. Excuse me. But me personally, I'm not touching Sol. I really don't care for Sol. It literally, they introduced meme coins and Sol had that massive run. That's basically why Sol had that run. Any other altcoins? So I'm not really interested in many other altcoins, if I'm being honest with you, but we could potentially have a look at maybe like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think. You know, you got a fine example. There were a coin, Rave Perp. There's your fine example of an altcoin that somebody's, you know, bought down here. It's gone up in one candle 35,000%. And you're telling me you're not taking profit? Of course you're taking profit. And then it came all the way back down 98%. So if you bought here and you've not taken profit up here, I genuinely don't know what's going on with you. Lab is another one that had the major move up recently. It's had the major move up. Lab from the bottom. Anybody in the right mind is taking profit here. Anybody in the right mind. And it really won't surprise me if Lab comes all the way back down into here. It really would not surprise me at all. What other coins have we got? WorldCoin at the minute. Their drawings from a long time ago. WorldCoin, you know, from all-time highs, this coin is lower than when it were released. You know, 99.9% of altcoins generally have a full trip up and then back down. Generally, that is the aim of the game in these coins. They are the full trip up, the full trip down. Unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles in the crypto market. And really, if you know, it's like all this crap, you know, when you come on TradingView, WorldCoin climbs near key breakout zone, blah, blah, blah. Most money at the minute is going in, and I believe that AI narrative is going into it, but I really think that AI bubble is going to pop. And it's happened over and over and over again. Over the years, the bubble pops. And this is what people don't look at. Oil coming down, which is good for many of us. We might be able to start getting some cheap fuel again. But, you know, actually most of these altcoins, they're just crap. They're not worth anything at all, really. Hype at the minute. Have a look at Hype. Hype's come up, had a lovely run, had an absolutely beautiful run. But same again, if you're in Hype at $20 and you've done a 270% in Hype, you are taking profit. I don't care who you are. You're starting to take profit when it breaches this level here. Once it breaches this level here, you're taking profit. And at the moment, there is going to be limit orders sat in this zone where we are right now. There is going to be limit orders sat in here. Can almost guarantee it. There will be limit orders in there. So Hype's probably going to chop around, potentially a little chop around, push back up, take out that liquidity, and then eventually fall away. You know, and it'll probably come back to lows again. Just how crypto is. So that's my thoughts on altcoins at the minute. And this is why I don't really care about catching a falling knife. Some of these altcoins. These altcoins are good to day trade. And if you're day trading, I'll be looking at the daily, I'll be looking at, you know, the weekly, the daily, looking at these technical supporting areas. And then I'll be like, right, what move can I get from this to potentially take some, you know, profit or whatever. But if we look on the hourly, even just going into the daily, you know, it's come back up, tried to take that liquidity, failed, and then come back down. But we will potentially be getting another move back. You know, if Hype comes into here, and then we're getting a move into there, and then it absolutely shits its pants, which will potentially give the 200 AMA time to catch up like this. Pretty easy. There's no need to catch that falling knife. You can wait until here and then get the move down to these technical areas below us. That's my thought on the alts. I'm not really interested in the alts. They are really like, they're just, you're gambling with alts. And if you're going to be gambling, you might as well just day trade the alt. Pointless holding it and hoping that it's going to keep going up. You know, you've got a fine example. There's another coin, ICP. Right, ICP. Just from this area, we don't even have to go that far back. Just from here, in ICP, $20 it went to. And it just, the alts do exactly the same over and over again. Down in here, little retracement, sideways, push back up, take out all this liquidity up in here, and then off she goes again, push back up, take out all that liquidity in there, and then drop back down. Pretty simple what these altcoins do. And now ICP is lower than it has ever been before. You know, you really need to choose the things that you want to be trading. And if it were me, I would just day trade altcoins. I wouldn't think, you know, about potentially holding them as a spot bag and things like that, because you're just going to get absolutely rinsed. You know, and then don't get me wrong, you're going to be coming on a trading view and you're going to see this crap here. ICP price highs break out as internet computer becomes crypto's most used blockchain. If it's the most used blockchain, why is it down at $2 too? Why? If it's the most used blockchain, why isn't this up here? You know, into a key breakout zone and then potentially going back to $20. Why is it not there? It's just, this here is fluff, pure fluff. And it makes you think, oh, I need to buy that straight away. And you're only going to get wrecked. Believe me, you will only get wrecked. So that's my thoughts on the altcoins. Total 3. I had this move predicted out a long time ago. You know, we tag into all-time highs. We reject all-time highs. And down we go. Back towards the value area low. Potentially sweeping out this zone here. That, you know, I said that in one of my YouTube videos a long time ago. I don't think we are just going to continue to go up from here. And this is what... This was the bullshit that people were coming out with. Excuse my language, but this was the crap that people were saying. Oh, it's going to break out. It's going to go here. It's going to go there. Blah, blah, blah. Well, look where it is now. From that breach. All the way back down into here. And it's now fallen below that high volume node. So it really wouldn't surprise me if it comes back down into here. It really wouldn't. You know, like I say, I'm only, you know, trying my best to predict what could come next. I ain't got a crystal ball. But, you know, this here down into here is a potential move, which is going to move BTC, is that the one, down into these lower zones. So be prepared for that. I am actively, slowly building my spot portfolio in BTC. So any dips down into here, I will start to buy. I had somebody say something in group to me yesterday. I hope you don't mind me mentioning it. If he does, tell me in comments, tell me to bugger off. But he basically said that somebody that he knows has been somewhere. This guy said, BTC is going to crash to 5K. But then he also said, you know, previously that the same guy bought BTC at 110K. So take that as you will. Take it with a pinch of salt, as they would say. So me, I'm going to be loading up on my BTC. I'm going to be loading up on my ETH. The only 2 coins I'll be holding. So a bit of food for thought. Like I say, get some comments down below. Let's get this algorithm going. Let me know if you want me to do anything for you. Like, you know, look at a coin. Do, you know, look at this, look at that. I'll gladly do it. I'll even look, like I say, at the stock market. I don't mind looking at the stock market. You know, a lot of this stuff that I do, it's for your entertainment. I'm just trying to keep you all level-headed in this market, because people tend to buy the crap and then end up holding them full circle instead of getting your cash out in these top zones. So, but yeah, that's it from me today, guys. Have a lovely day. Have a great trading day. And I will catch you in the next one. Happy trading.